Yep, we did that already, I think. Hold on. Yes. Yep, we did that already. Yeah.
That's what Carly said was wrong the last time.
Okay.
So.
We've got the audio up and working. I can hear us in here. Okay, this is who's talking. Hope Boland. I'm Alan Holt. This is our newest meteorologist, so getting on the streaming platforms live. Let's pull the graphics up really quick. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. So we've been working together all day long, and for what, the past month or so, you've been hanging out with me, Carly,
Yeah,
in our shifts.
month and a half ish.
And Hope is our weekend morning meteorologist currently, plus tons of fill-ins. So
yes.
yeah, you'll be seeing Hope regularly on all of our broadcasts. But we are going to talk a lot about the watershed rains that fell this morning. Lots of rain.
Yes.
Yeah, up toward Uvalde.
Lots of flooding.
Yeah, a lot of flooding. And this is in addition to all the Kerrville stuff and the Guadalupe River last week. And then the Invest 93L. It's a developing system that is currently in the Atlantic, and that's going to move toward the northern Gulf. So we'll be talking about all of that here on this live stream. We'll bring the maps up full. Wait, should we wait for people to join? Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for. So while we wait, can I ask you questions?
Sure.
Okay. Tell me one thing that the people watching in Corpus Christi and the Coastal Bend may not know about you.
Oh.
A fun thing.
A fun thing? I really like woodworking, like to use electric saws.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you were going to go with the Christmas in July.
Oh, I also really do love Christmas in July.
We've been listening to Christmas music over there.
Been watching all the Hallmark movies.
Yeah. But I'm a huge stickler for not listening to the music until after Thanksgiving. That's me. Yeah.
In college, I definitely didn't like that because between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or like when you were in college, that part sucked so much.
Yeah.
And so you had to have like Christmas cheer earlier. Okay.
All right. I'm big on the delayed gratification. I'll hold off, let Thanksgiving have its time, and then I'm all in on the Christmas music. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I won't even listen to anything else except for Christmas music. Yeah. So,
I don't know if I do that.
Yeah, but it's a touchy subject on
Yes.
the interwebs, so
Yes.
I'm sure to bring that up every year. Yeah, so we'll get started with this. We'll pull the maps back up. I'm going to toggle between some of these views here, but that is the radar 12-hour loop. And currently there is additional storm and shower activity west of I-35 that is going to be working to the north overnight, and it may be that there's additional flooding concerns overnight and into tomorrow in some of the areas that saw a lot of rainfall today. So you see that massive shield of rain. Almost looks like a bow echo tried to develop west of San Antonio. You'll see it right here at the beginning of the loop, but the upper level energy that it was driving that is starting to work to the north. It's not really moving east. So we'll see how it plays out tomorrow morning with the additional rain, but Hope, look at the numbers up there this morning.
Yeah, around 10 inches in some areas. Kind of very spread out though.
Yeah, up there in the northern section of the watershed, it's been a really parched area of land, especially south of Uvalde. I know the massive rains that fell over the 4th of July weekend up toward Kerr County, the Hill Country, and then into central and eastern Texas. Those areas got a ton of rain 10 days ago. This area didn't get as much rain as was observed over the 4th of July weekend. And this is a huge benefit to the watershed. The only problem with it is, we just talked about it, this land is pretty dry. And the other thing is that it's a shared area. The catch zone is a shared area with the Edwards Aquifer. So some of that's going to go toward the Edwards. Some of it will flow down the Frio River and the Nueces River eventually. But, you know, we talk about parched land, and you see it there. West of San Antonio, extending into where a lot of those rains fell on Highway 90 between Del Rio and San Antonio. It's extreme drought. So, you know, there's going to be rainwater that seeps into the ground and doesn't necessarily run off completely. And I find it interesting. This is the flood charts. Those dark green hues, those are flood watches. The brighter green hue outlining the Frio there, that is a flood warning that's in effect for you know, at least through tomorrow morning. And I found it interesting. It looks like the crest at the Frio east of Uvalde has already happened, and it may have been a little bit under what was predicted, and that was 16.5 feet. Major flood stage 17 feet at the Frio east of Uvalde, and that's the runoff and the water that eventually is going to work to the south. The flood warning doesn't continue southward once you get to about Dilley, Texas. So you see Pearsall on the map. A little south of that is where the flood warning is not getting continued. So we'll see how much of that water comes down the Frio and eventually into Choke Canyon. That's the river that feeds Choke. The Nueces River, and you know, this is a location where there's a gauge, but it's not necessarily an overly populated area. At Laguna, which is in northwestern Uvalde County, that had a 5-foot rise today, and it's already gone down. There are no flood warnings in effect for the Nueces River. So we likely won't see water from the Nueces make it all the way down to Lake Corpus Christi. I'm just scrolling through some of the comments here. For anyone just logging on, I'm Alan Holt. This is Hope Boland. We're streaming not only here to Facebook and looking at the comments here, but this goes out to YouTube, our 3 News Plus app, and they live there. And we might put this on somewhere, you know, an article that we wrote up about the tropics, because we're eventually going to get there. But you know, that we're just walking through we only get 2.5 minutes to talk about it on television. Mm-hmm. So we can talk. We've already talked about what was your favorite Christmas song?
Oh, Mary Did You Know is a good one. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What were we listening to?
I picked Donny Hathaway, This Christmas.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
I feel like there's too many to pick.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot of good ones.
I like Wham! Last Christmas, but I had to clarify before all the covers started coming out. Yeah, the original one. Yeah.
Is it Jackson 5? I saw Mommy.
Oh yeah,
kissing.
yeah.
Is it Jackson 5?
I think so.
Yeah.
But that song, oh man, I don't know how many kids are watching I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. Because Mommy's kissing Daddy. Mm-hmm. Who's Santa? I mean, it's just a clever song. Sorry, kids. That's a really good song, yeah. So we're going off on this tangent because when we started this, we were talking about Christmas in July. Yeah, one of your little traditions that you do, and we talked about some favorite songs. So this is who's behind the microphone. I'm going to pull the graphics back up full. so you can see everything that we're talking about here. And, it's not as nice.
Oh, it looked really good earlier.
It did, yeah. Sun went down around 8:30, so we still have some twilight out there, but we're looking to the west on the Lex Cam, 9 o'clock, July the 14th. So good reminder that if you're not watching at that time, then this is a now recorded segment. But it is 9 o'clock now on Monday, July the 14th. It's 84 out. It's humid. Why is that air quality moderate right now, Hope?
We still have some lingering Saharan dust in the air from our last plume that came through. Yeah, we're expecting another plume later this week.
Okay.
Not as bad though.
Yeah. So air quality probably gonna hang out with the yellow there on the moderate. It's really humid out. The dew point is up significantly. It's 78. That's pretty sticky feeling, and it makes the 84 out at the airport feel like the middle 90s. This is the satellite and radar loop. We've got it focused on the Gulf. There's a massive region of high pressure right in the middle of the Gulf. You see the shower activity in Mexico. That's going to be working toward parts of the watershed again tonight. I don't think that comes toward the KIII viewing area. And the other feature on the map is approaching Florida. The Invest 93L is still in the Atlantic. There's a band of showers and storms, though, working off of it and into the far eastern Gulf. That's not the disturbance in question. The feature we're talking about is still, again, off of the east coast of the Florida Peninsula there. So Invest 93L is right now what this is named. If you're looking for weather data on it, that's what the name is going to be right now. For example, the spaghetti plot, you can find it, Invest 93L. If you're familiar with weather sites, you pull that up and you'll be able to see the data on this. The National Hurricane Center bumped this up to 40% on the odds for development on their 7 o'clock update tonight. So roughly 2 hours ago, now to a medium chance. That's why it's now an orange color and not the yellow color that it's been. When did that start popping up? When did they start flagging it?
Saturday, afternoon.
Yeah,
it was after I did the morning.
Yeah, so over the weekend. So it's been a couple days where it's been a low probability, and now just up to a medium chance of developing into something organized. And when we say that, that means a tropical depression or greater. So if this became a tropical depression, that would satisfy the odds for development. It would mean that it did develop, and at that point you would start to get a cone. You would get, the impacts-based forecast from the National Hurricane Center. Probability of wind speeds reaching whatever threshold, that's when those products become available, or if it's a potential tropical cyclone. So that's what we're talking about when we say developing, tropical depression or greater. And I try to keep one eye on the maps and another on the comments, just to make sure there aren't any questions coming in. But we try to, get all the questions answered. So that's where it is right now, Monday night, off the east coast of the Florida Peninsula. And look at the Gulf of Mexico.
Very, very warm.
80 is the threshold for tropical development, for things to really get going. 80 degrees or so, you could have 79 and something could happen, but 80 is somewhat of the magic number. Mid to upper 80s, you start getting into higher octane fuel. One thing I typically like to mention when we're talking about this specifically is that sea surface temperatures being this warm alone does not guarantee tropical development. It's like, it's the fuel. Once the car is on, then it'll start pulling, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if you have a tank of gas, that you're definitely going to have a car. They're not, they're not working in conjunction yet. But there's definitely some heat there. Yeah, near 90 in the northern Gulf.
Yeah.
That's up there.
Kind of right where they have that.
Yep, it's a good point. Great point. Yeah, the mid to upper 80s, that's right where that 40% is located. This map is, it's just, we're just going to walk through all of the things that we look at when we're trying to decipher things like track, intensity, are the ingredients there for development, all of these different things. And this one, I moved forward in time to Wednesday morning. And the reason for that is that's around the time that this thing, may be getting into the northeastern Gulf or even the north central Gulf. I do think it gets into the Gulf off of western Florida by Tuesday night or so. That's about when it gets into the Gulf. And, we're looking at wind shear here. So when there's shear present, what that means is it's a harder time to not only become organized, but also, present as a symmetrical, healthy looking system when there's shear around it. So let's say, for example, this thing tracked into the middle of the Gulf. It would be taking on more shear than if it were to stay in the northern or like the northern fringes of the Gulf, closer to land. So if it were to go south, it would be reasonable to say, okay, it may not be in as favorable of an environment. Whereas if it went north, okay, less shear, but then you're talking about land interaction, and that's a mitigator for development. So there's some subtleties here with the wind shear with respect to the future of this system. This is a great map. I think this does a good idea or job of painting some of the steering that this Invest 93L is going to have down the line.
Yeah, so the red there kind of indicates the high pressure that we're seeing. It's not really a good tight area of circulation that we like to kind of, when we learn about high pressure, see where it's just like a circle.
Yeah, so
it's a weaker area of high pressure. So if it were stronger, the high pressure might block anything from developing going north. But with it weaker, there's a chance that it could turn north with both the Coriolis force and if it gets close to land, interacting with land.
Yeah, the land comment is a great point because I use the analogy, going back on camera, I use the analogy of when you're driving down, we've all experienced this because I think most of us have driven in Corpus Christi and a little shower happens and then you've got puddles all over the place, right? So let's say you're driving down the road, two hands. Yeah, you're driving down the road, the right side of your vehicle hits a big puddle. The steering wheels want to pull you to the right. There's some friction going on there. And with a system that may be perhaps closer to land, like Hope was just talking about, she was describing that frictional influence of land on a system that may be developed or trying to develop if it were to stay more to the north. This is looking, 20,000 feet up in the atmosphere at the wind field and where these areas of pressure are. So that low may not be as far south as this is indicating. Just we're looking vertically. We're not looking at the surface with this chart. But yeah, that high just doesn't scream massive blocking high when we're looking at this on the maps. So this model, this is for transparency's sake, is the European model. And this keeps this disturbance fairly unorganized and basically moves from east to west across the northern half of the Gulf through the duration of this week. I'm just checking on comments here. So yeah, that's the European, and the takeaway here is that the steering influence is going to be to move something from east to west across the Gulf. And because that high isn't overly strong, it is possible that if something does become more organized or developed, that a north turn prior to reaching Texas is definitely on the forecast table. This is the newest spaghetti plot that we've got, and you'll see exactly what we just talked about happen.
They all want to turn.
Yes. These three, this isn't showing the European. The European's over more so toward the upper Texas Gulf Coast. But the GFS, the consensus that TVCN and the Hurricane WRF, that's the National Hurricane Center's high-res model, one of them, they've got HAPS A and HAPS B as well, two relatively new tools. But, you know, that's the plot right now. Scraping by the Gulf Coast states and turning north, and that's by Friday morning. Again, the European is a lot farther west. It doesn't have that turn with it, at least as of the latest runs of that model. Big rain. It's going to be big. It's going to be messy. You know, I think regardless of the development, what it's called, whether it's invest, potential tropical cyclone, tropical depression, this is going to be a rainmaker for sure for Florida, for coastal Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. And if let's say it does organize a little bit more, it's possible that some of these totals are a bit higher and more focused wherever that development happens and moves in. So this is still a general rain outlook. What's going on in South Texas?
A hole.
Yeah. So yeah, this map is showing, you know, where this is from the Weather Service, from the Weather Prediction Center. And, you know, the two influences are the upper level energy that is driving the rains west of San Antonio, and then this tropical system with the big footprint of 2 to 5 inches across a lot of the northern Gulf and the coastal states of the southeast U.S., sans Texas, really. But Texas is definitely in play with respect to rainfall. This, just by looking at it, I can tell is not really acknowledging the European model, because the European model
keeps it disorganized
and
throws energy our way.
Yeah, it throws it more to the west. This is the European model's moisture outlook. And you see, this is also up in the atmosphere. It's not at the surface. So you see that spin near Houston. That is not indicating something at the surface spinning around. This is looking up into the atmosphere at something called precipitable water. We call it PWATS. And
that's all the water in the column of air.
Yes. Yeah, like if it were to get squeezed out of the atmosphere, it would be however many inches of rainfall. So it's a good indicator of where that moisture is when we're looking at tropical systems and the moisture plume with it and how that's going to move about. So the European is a lot more to the west than a lot of the other guidance. And I show this just to show and illustrate that moisture from this is possible here on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, if this organizes and moves north,
we probably won't see much.
Yeah.
It will tighten up.
Yeah.
And so then the energy may not get flung towards us.
Yeah. I'm going to take a swig here. And if it does tighten up and organize and moves north before getting to Texas, we would likely be pretty hot. We'd get that counterclockwise spin. It would be drier air getting piled down into South Texas. And in the summer, when we get drier air here and it's hot,
dry air heats up faster.
It does, yes, yeah. So we would be looking at a pretty hot forecast if it moves north and develops prior to reaching Texas. So with that moisture field that we just looked at, you know, it's reasonable to mention the rain chance. It's there. If I were super confident, I would bump that way up, but I'm not. And neither is the Hurricane Center at this point. It's just too far down the road for confidence, which is what? It's going to be 4 days out, Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 4 days out from something happening. 3 to 4 days out, which isn't that long, but in a forecast sense, it's plenty of time, especially when there is not a tangible system with a defined center and, out there currently. Nothing has developed yet. It's just a little disturbance, still in the Atlantic even. So we acknowledge that rain chance Friday, and that's primarily because the European model wants to throw moisture into South Texas Friday. Also, you mentioned this earlier, the dust.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wednesday through Friday. Or I think we have a little bit came in today, and then Tuesday starts coming in more thing of plume.
You were upset with my forecast here on the ups and downs. You said, why isn't there any? Why is it all the same?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you telling me that?
I think that Wednesday will be a little bit more hazier than the rest of the days.
Yeah, I agree.
But you said that it looks a lot less than last week. So
I think, my take on the dust this week was I don't think we see a massive amount to really alter the look of the sky on a day-to-day. So I just kept it right there in the hint of haze category. Have you ever heard of Hunter Hayes?
No.
No, he's a artist from Louisiana. I think he's country artist. We'll go listen to it when we finish with this. Yeah. That was just me being random. Apologies. Pull the camera up here. So that's the dust outlook. And then there's the 7-day. Breezy the next couple of days, could have some gusts 30 plus miles an hour. The little chance for rain Friday, that may change. We're just going to have to adjust with how this tropical feature evolves in the northern Gulf. But overall, I mean, it's hot. And it could be hotter if, like we talked about, the system develops, moves in, before it gets to Texas into the northern Gulf. And the heat index values, you got to squint.
105, 106.
109. Maybe by Sunday. So 105 to 110 on that heat index range each of the next 7 days. And Hope, a lot of times we'll have a bunch of questions on these. I'm looking at them. I see some people I know on here. But it seems like we answered all of the questions that may have been bouncing around in some of the heads of people. So it is now 9:22. Oh man, on that computer, my watch says 9:18. What does our weather computer say?
I think this one is wrong.
Yeah, this one's off a little bit, 5 minutes off. I'm just gonna scroll back all the way to the Lexington camera. There it is. Some low-level clouds. 9:18. The watch is right.
Fast.
Yeah, this one's 4 minutes, maybe more faster. I think we're done. Here. Put back the main camera. Oh, someone said the audio is off. Just kidding, it's not. That would have been bad though.
I fixed it earlier.
We couldn't figure out what was going on, but
you couldn't figure out.
I couldn't figure it out. She knew more than I did on the audio of this thing. That's it. We'll go over there and update everything for the 10 o'clock. Thank you if you joined us. Again, this is on July the 14th. It's about to be 9:20. So we started this at 8:45 or so. That's when it was live. If you're watching it at a different time, we are not live. We won't be able to answer the questions. And we'll see you at 10. Thank y'all.